Greetings on this Sunday, August 11th. You're watching MAGI, Multi-Agent Generated Indicators. This is our experiment with machine learning applied to over 5 years worth of U.S. equities price action on about 120 or so stocks that we track regularly. And if the volatility makes the cut and if the probabilities make the cut, you will see the results here on this shared sheet that we're watching and we're looking at. Let's go ahead and remind you, we are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice. It is merely the data set that our proprietary machine learning produces on the data that we're analyzing. And with that, let's get into the results. So you can see that these were generated on the 9th. We've got Akamai here, a 1% move predicted. Amazon, a 1% move predicted. EXC here, I'm not really familiar with the name. Maybe that's Exxon Corporation or something like that. Looks like a 1% move. Again, these are calls. This is upward movement. These are longs. GIS, a 1.5% move. Illumina, that is a 2.5% move that's predicted up to $126.65. And MPC with a whopping 4% move predicted. Last week we had APD predicted in a call, and of course we know what happened there. Things went down. They did not go up. Let's take a look at CCI. Same thing here. CCI did not go in the direction that MAGI had predicted, but remember, these are 20-day look-ahead predictions, and I want to really stress that here. 20 days ahead, meaning that if it goes down, and it could go down 10% for all we know, and then if the stock rises back up and it hits that 1% move within 20 days, well, that was the prediction. It predicted it would move that 1% in 20 days. Usually what we find is that this happens within 1 or 2 or 3 days. And you'll see a lot of that did happen. Let's take a look down here. Again, these are still longs that we're looking at. EXC, which did produce its 1% move, and that was the next trading day. That was on the 5th, because these were generated on the 2nd, and the 5th was the next trading day. So that worked perfectly. GILD, that's still active. GIS predicted on the 2nd to move 1.5%, and we have that move met the very next trading day. This one shows a 1% still active, and MTCH is still active as well. None of that 2.5% predicted move has met its target yet. NOC did meet its target the very next day, and Realty Income Corp, which is the O symbol there, did meet its target the very next day. So you can see that some of them actually do, and if we scroll down here a little bit further, for the ones that were generated on the 26th, you'll see that most of them did. I mean, the vast majority met their targets, and they met their targets. This was generated the 26th, usually within 2 or 3 days. Here's one on the 29th. That's his next trading day, 29th, next trading day. You can take a look at the data for yourself. You can go back and look at my previous videos. We published this information before it happened, and look at that. It has met its target. So let's now take a look at the shorts. We have puts by triggered on the sheet. Go ahead and look at this for yourself. It's absolutely free. We're really not asking you for anything. There's no information that you need to give us. Just access the sheet and follow us along. Okay, so this was generated again on the 9th, and these are the shorts, as I've just mentioned. ADM, that has quite a prediction all the way out to 5%. Amazon, 1.5% move. CRM, 1% down move. DPZ, 3.5% move predicted downward. Let's take a look at this. Fast is 2%. FSLR is 1%. HES, 2%. HUM, 1.5%. JBHT, 1% move, CLAC 1% move, LRCX 1.5% move, Microsoft 1% move down, NVIDIA 1.5% move, RL 1%. Now, last week, if we take a look at the performance here briefly, last week we had an Archer-Daniels Midland prediction of a 2% downward move, and then actually it was 4% here. We've broken this up to show you that some of this is still active here, right? But it did make 2% of what was supposed to be a 4% move. And as I've said in the past, with some of these extended moves either not making their target, or if the move has already, or that stock has already seen some big move, then what I would say is maybe you don't want to take the risk to bet on this extended move. Maybe you just want to, go 2% out instead of 4% out. And in this case, that would have paid off. That strategy of being conservative would have paid off for you. Okay, let's take a look at ARE. 1% move here, met the very next day. BA met the next day. That's the Boeing Corporation. That was met the very next day. It actually went down much more than this, but remember, we're only looking for the highest probability trades here, and that's what you're seeing. BG met the very next day. Caterpillar met the very next day, and that was a 2% move. CRM met. CVX met. All of these were met. I won't go ahead and read all of them. You can see it for yourself. There's just a ton. And of course, we had a very down week last week, so that is to be expected that it would happen. But remember, MAGI saw all of these puts, saw all of these shorts. This is what it predicted. So pretty good stats here. And if we look historically, more have been met than are still active or expired. The performance sheet here says 100% accuracy. Obviously, that is not true. I broke something. I tried to fix it. I'm still struggling to figure out which cell that I probably inserted some, erroneous data into. That's the thing with this. It's not kind of a set database, and these aren't reports. This is actually a live data set. And if I put the wrong thing in the wrong place, then I'm going to cause a problem. So my apologies about the accuracy rate here not being accurate. I think it's just one cell, literally one data point, that has screwed all of this up. And I am, again, sorry about that. I'll try to get that fixed in the next week. And here's a follow-up now to something I mentioned before. We're trying to track our ability to enter or set stop losses that are appropriate for the signals and to maximize what the signals have to offer in a real trading environment. Now, this is a paper trading account you see here, and it belongs to my friend Bob, who is a former data scientist and doctor at UCSF, and he is a kind of a part-time trader, creates his own algos within TradeStation, and he's trying to help us to maximize the real entry and exit points that you could expect in a real market environment. Now, obviously, like I said, it's a paper trading account, but his challenges so far have been stop losses, because he's setting really tight stop losses. We know that these stocks can sometimes go significantly against us, and then finally, after 20 days, rise up and hit their targets. But on average, most of the stock movement takes place within 3 days, as we've discussed before. And so he is still having difficulty because some of these are fairly volatile. Also, they may be going in the direction of the trade right away, overnight, and if he doesn't have that ability to trade before the session opens, then he's not going to be able to catch that direction. And that would be, of course, a challenge for many people who would take our signals. So we're trying to find out exactly what the best conditions are, some rules and some parameters to put around using these signals in a stock trading environment. After all, that's really what they're for. So we want to find that information out for ourselves as well. And that does it for us, folks. I wanted to make sure to end on this screen and also put the link to our shared sheet for you so you can access that. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week.